There's one perception of New York Mets owner Steve Cohen that I just can't agree with. Let's talk about it. And well, welcome back to New York Sports WickerMedia. I'm Wat2K99. Thank you, as always, for taking the time to watch these videos. If you enjoy what you're watching, please do a boy a favor. Hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you haven't already. We're trying to get to 400 subscribers by the end of December. There's just a couple of days left to do it. I want to keep growing this channel. I appreciate you taking the time to stop by. All right, let's talk a little Mets baseball here. Now, I've been hearing a lot of people around baseball, Mets fans, Yankees fans, media members, people all over the place saying Steve Cohen is the new George Steinbrenner. And I take issue with that. And we're going to talk about why for a couple of reasons. I think it's easy to look at it that way because Cohen is coming across as very ruthless, win at all costs. But here's the key. The way that these two men have gone about it is completely different. Okay, so when I think of Steinbrenner, first of all, he never had the net worth of Steve Cohen. Steinbrenner, for the most part, was rarely, if ever, the richest owner in baseball. Okay, but I look at what he did, whether it's firing managers relentlessly, firing general managers, every couple of years. He believed in chaos. He thrived on the chaos. I don't see that from Steve Cohen. Cohen really seems to be all about getting stability. Now, he's had some issues getting people hired because they know the expectations are going to be high for the Mets. It took them a while to get a general manager. They still don't have their vice president of baseball operations. They've been looking at David Stearns in Milwaukee. They talked about Theo Epstein, which I don't think is ever going to happen. But, Cohen seems to really want stability and somebody he could put in place for a long time and just let them go. But the way that these two men have acquired talent is very different. So to me, I look at the Yankees, especially in the 1980s when George was just relentless, before the Yankees made their 4 World Series in 5 years run. And just think about in the 1980s, these players that George Steinbrenner really traded away or arranged to have traded away. Willie McGee became a great player with St. Louis. I believe he was a World Series MVP. Bob Tewksbury, very good starting pitcher. Doug Drabek, the best pitcher on the early 90s Pirates teams. Fred McGriff, who just got voted somehow into the Baseball Hall of Fame. Not that he deserved it. I'm not going to say there wasn't any nepotism or cronyism with multiple Braves on the selection committee, but that aside, McGriff was still an excellent slugger. Al Leiter, Jose Rijo, Jay Buhner, which has been, everybody knows about it from Seinfeld. How could you trade Jay Buhner? Mike Lowell, who became an excellent third baseman with the Marlins. All these players were traded away, and for the wrong players, whether it was for Ken Phelps, that's probably the most famous one. But guys like that, Ed Yarnell, who was best known for being in the Mike Piazza trade to the Mets. So the Yankees were really trading away a lot of homegrown talent. The Mets have not shown a willingness to do that. Now, in the Javier Baez trade in 2021, they did trade Pete Crow Armstrong to Chicago. And I think that's kind of kicking them a little bit, even though PCA has not made it to the major leagues. I think that they are very cautious of doing that unless they're saving up that young talent for one big trade. Shohei Ohtani is most likely what I'm thinking, but he is a free agent after 2023, so who knows? But the Mets really seem to be focused on building a sustainable model like the LA Dodgers, where they're constantly adding new talent into the system, both domestically and internationally. So even though both these men are desiring to win at all costs, it's not really all costs for Steve Cohen. He will spend the money on the free agents. We have seen that. But not at the risk of losing the depth of the system, because eventually you need some young players to come in and form that core. And I'm glad that I haven't seen Billy Epler and Steve Cohen do that, even as they spent all this money over this offseason. Well, I want to hear your thoughts in the comments. Do you think that Steve Cohen is the new George Steinbrenner? Love to hear your thoughts. Leave something in the comments for me. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you back here with more content from you know where. The Wicker Chair.